Hello, hello, hello. It is I, Lanee Javet. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't even have a good title for my Facebook Live. I need to come up with um, a show title, which I don't have yet. But for now, hey, it's Lanee Javet, business development strategist, coach extraordinaire. And today, we are going to have a dope conversation around communicating. We entitled today's live, Don't Lie to Me, how to communicate honestly. Okay. And I have the amazing couples coach, Dr. Alicia Watkins, here with me today. How are you doing today, Dr. Alicia?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing, Lanee? Thank you for bringing me on here. I'm very excited. And this was a great topic for today.
Yes, it really is. So you know what? I know you. I get to work with you. I can brag on my clients. You are amazing. You are a mother. You are a clinical psychologist, I believe.
No, I'm a licensed clinical social worker.
Licensed clinical social worker.
Yes.
You're faculty, so you teach, and you're now a wife. You are the wife of Dr. Boyce Watkins. So you are multifaceted, multi-talented, diverse.
Yes, I'm a new wife. I'm on my honeymoon right now, and we break away so that we can get our work done. And I am a wife for the second time. It's my second time being a wife. And I am a professor. So not only am I a therapist, a licensed clinical social worker, but I also train other adults how to become a social worker, just like me.
Nice.
So my days are long filled with a lot of work to do.
I love it. So me and you were on the line the other day having conversations about communicating as couples need to do and know how to do. And I just kind of started talking to you about some different questions that I have and some issues and things of that nature. And I said, you know what, we should have this conversation online because a lot of men and women struggle with communicating. There's a lot of things happening in the dating universe. I'm 44. I'll be 45 in September, never married, and communicating is one of those issues. And I'm going to tell you something that literally just happened to me the other day. But before I do that, hello, Facebook. If you are in the comments, please say hello to Dr. Alicia, no matter where you are. Say hi, Dr. Alicia, or say hi to me just so that I know you're there, so I can see that you are in the comment section. Want to know who's with us today. Also, if you have a question about relationships, about couples, about getting remarried, about hurt, or anything like that, please feel free to ask because we are going to use this time with Dr. Alicia to filter some of those questions. But I'll start. So, let me see how I'm going to ask this. I'm going to tell you what I do, and then you can tell me if you think this is right. We're going to talk about red flags. Hey, Miss Whisper Thompson from Georgia. How are you, sweetie? So I'm going to start with red flags because I think that oftentimes dating and going into relationships, we have a very difficult time identifying red flags. Now, I went out with this gentleman the other night on a date, first date. When I got there, I was like, I'm not sure. Yeah. Thank you. I tried too. I was like, I'm not sure how this is going to go, but I'm not going to do my normal thing and be like, and blow it off. So I was like, I'm going to see the date through. So I did. I saw the date through. Nice guy. I still was on the fence, but I was still going to push through. Well, the next day I went out with my mom and my son to a movie, and he called me twice and I wasn't able to get back to him. So by the time I called him back, he had an attitude. And I was like, I'm already on the fence. You can't have an attitude and I'm already on the fence. So when we were hanging up, he said to me, give me a call if you want to see me. And I said, cool, I'll call you tomorrow. To me, meaning I'll call you tomorrow. We can hook up, we can connect, whatever, right? That's not how he took it. He said, well, that's not what I was looking for. And I was like, well, what were you looking for? And he was like, well, I was expecting you to say that you want to see me. Well, I'm thinking that if I tell you I'll call you tomorrow and you say, call me if you want to see me, I'm kind of telling you what you want to hear. But anyways, so we hung up. That stayed in my heart. I felt like there was a lack of communication. So the next morning when I woke up, I hit him first thing like, look, first, you accused me of something that wasn't true. This is what he had the attitude about. Second, you got an attitude with me over something that wasn't true. And third, I don't like how we hung up. So for me, those are 3 red flags. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do my own thing. Now, The old me wouldn't have done that. Old me had a very difficult time identifying red flags, right? I would just be like, oh, you know what? Maybe it's not him. Maybe that's not how he operates. Maybe he doesn't get an attitude so quickly. Let's pursue, let's further, let's see. But new me is like, check, 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 I'm done. So what is proper communicating for dating and or getting someone?
Okay, Lanee. Why weren't you sure about this person? And by the way, when you went on the date, did you have a good time with him? Did you have fun?
I did. Had a good time on the date. Had fun with him.
Then what evidence is there that you wouldn't be sure about this guy if you had a good time with him?
I don't think we were equally yoked. I don't think we made a good match. So just from our.
What do you mean?
So. Oh, okay. So God, I want to tell you this other story, but I'll get to that one. I'm at a point, and I think we as women do this a lot. We'll meet somebody and we think, oh, this person has potential. I can work with them, or I can fix it, or I can work around it, or I can, you know what I mean? But I don't want to do that anymore. And so when I met him, I was like, he seems cool. He's nice. We had a good conversation. Things were well. He has a roommate, and I feel like at 50, you shouldn't have roommates. So I was.
What's wrong with you having a roommate? Like, I think like in the pandemic, it's really nice to have. I feel sorry there's a lot of men in my office who live alone during this pandemic, and they're sitting there thinking, God, I wish I had a roommate, someone else to talk to. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a roommate. And if you had a really good time with this gentleman, you call him and you say, yes, I want to see you again. Why not go for it, Lanee?
Well,
I don't know, unless you can tell me some actual red flags. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to diagnose you or anything, but it sounds like you went out on a date with a guy. You enjoyed his company. He really enjoyed your company because he was so excited to see you again. He called you twice when you were at the movies. I think that's sweet. I think that's really nice. And if a guy did that to me, I would think, oh my God, he really likes me. I don't know, unless he did something mean and disrespectful. I don't know that he was being, I don't know that there's any red flags. Based on what you've told me, I think he seems like a really nice, genuine guy. And just because he has a roommate doesn't mean anything. I think it's a great way to save money. It's a great way to have companionship. Like, I wouldn't be upset if I dated a guy who was 50 and if I was single. I don't know. I'm not trying to disagree with you. But I mean, it sounds like he's a really nice guy, and I think you should take him out on a date. You should call him up and say, no. Okay, so what was it?
So he had a legit reason for having a roommate. He's recently divorced. He's recently divorced. So he's been divorced. Yeah. So the transition. So I'm okay with that. So the accusation that he made towards me is the reason why no. He accused me of sending him up when we didn't have a plan. As you know, I'm in a doctoral program, right? So my time is very short and valuable. And I was at the place with my mom and my son. So that did not work. And then just like I said, I was already on the fence. And so if I'm already on the fence and you rub me the wrong way, I'm not going to do the work to try to get you on the other side of the fence. It's not my responsibility. But I think we've related to women, and ladies, you guys, please chime in and tell me where you guys are from a dating perspective. How many red flags do you get? And or men, you can relate to this too with women. How many red flags are okay? Right? Because young me used to call a red flag fuchsia, pink. Right? It was everything but red. And you would pursue something. And some of that comes back to communicating. When we're younger, we don't know how to properly communicate. When you're younger, I call it go along to get along, right? Especially when you're dating. Sometimes as women, you don't say what you really want. So maybe you do want to be married and you start dating a man who says he doesn't want to be married, but you don't want to tell him you don't want to be married because it might scare him off. And so you'll stay in that relationship a little longer than you should, thinking that you can change his mind in marriage. Or as a woman, you don't want to have sex, but you don't know how to communicate that to a man. And so you will go ahead and have sex, but now you have resentment. Like, there are things that happen from a communication standpoint that we don't really know what to do or how to do until we get older. And so now I personally feel like I'm at a place now where I'm very good at communicating those things. No, let me not say that. I won't say I'm really good. certain areas, certain things, especially through this dating thing right now, I've become better at being honest with myself when I see something that I don't like that.
Okay, well, I will say, I think you should give this man a chance. And if you don't feel it, if it's just not feeling it, you're not feeling it for you, then that's fine. But like when you get divorced, you feel really vulnerable. And so hats off to this guy. I don't know his name, whoever he is out here. Hats off to him to want to get out and start dating again, because divorce can be very traumatic for men. And the fact that a man who's been through recent divorce and he's got a roommate, the fact that he would want to get back out there. And Lanee, you are beautiful. You are absolutely beautiful. So you're going to have a bunch of men after you anyway. And so like to be able to have the courage for him to get back out there, and it's probably awkward. Imagine if he's been married for a while, he hasn't been dating for a long time. So he doesn't know. It's probably clunky and he's not quite sure how to date again. So I think you should be patient with him. He might be a nice gentleman. Is he sweet as can be? Like, you know, there's other qualities that you look for. If he didn't do it for you, then, you know, then be honest about that.
That part.
Okay, that's what it is.
I didn't want to say it.
But let him down easy because I would venture to say if he is got divorced and he has a roommate, probably he's been hurt in some way. It probably hurt him psychologically. It probably hurt his pocket a little bit. And so he is rebounding, and it takes time to rebound. And so I think he felt a little insecure. You feel very vulnerable. You're back out there. You're doing it wrong. So this poor gentleman is probably going to make a lot more mistakes before he gets it right. So if he doesn't work for you, then that's good for you. You can move on. But for you, Lanee, I'd like for you to, I didn't hear, based on what you said, I didn't really hear any concrete red flags. I just got that it's just not a good match for you. But, yeah. But I think that, you know, he must have done something. You did end up going out on a date with him. So he must have done something that you liked.
I did. So let me ask you that. So, I mean, you know what? I did go out. The date was not bad. Even like I said, when I left, I was like, I was already.
What was holding you back? What made you go? What about
I think didn't do it for me.
Okay.
I think that, but because I'm trying to be a better dater, I was going to work through that. But when you get attitude, like we went out one time, you can't get an attitude with me.
Yeah.
Date and talk to me crazy. I don't do condescending. Like you can't talk to me crazy after one date. I'm not okay with that.
Okay. So he probably didn't do the best job of articulating. He probably felt really nervous, I imagine. I just feel sorry for this guy. But I also feel sorry for you because you went out on a date with someone and it didn't really work. So
yes.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah, so Vinnie Smith says, I think it's always great to go out and be open to the possibility. And more importantly, just enjoying yourself instead of going in with your guard up.
Yes, who is this?
This is Vinnie Smith.
Yes, I agree with Vinnie. Is Vinnie a male or a female? I can't. Oh, it's a lady. Yes, I agree with her so much. It's like, you know, when after my divorce, when I was like out there, I had no expectations. I was just like, I'm just going to be whatever comes. I had no expectations. You know, you just go out and do whatever. But I had made sure that I worked on myself first to make sure that I was as whole as I could be. Now, there's always blind spots that I don't see, you know, but I really spent quite a bit of time, even while I was going through my divorce and before then, when I realized this was not going to work. You know, I also spent a lot of time working on myself so that I'm not very vulnerable and needy. You can become really needy during that time. But you really do need to enter, like Vinnie said, just enter having fun. My thing was, I'm just going to kick it and have a fun time. And that has what I have been doing. I've been having fun ever since. So that's what I was interested more in, is having fun, getting to know someone. Never the expectation that I would even get married again. I thought I was going to be single for the rest of my life. And I was perfectly fine with that. I said, I'm going to be the old lady who lives in the shoe, who has so many children. I don't know what to do. I embraced that. And I said, if that's where this leads me, then so be it. And it was funny because my mom was the one thinking, no, someone's going to pick you up And she didn't believe it at all, but I was totally content with whatever. So when Boyce and I started dating, I had no expectations that I never thought in a million years we would be married. I had no expectations for that. But I like fell so in love with him. I was already in love with him as a friend. And then I saw this other side of him, like, ooh, Boyce, what is this other side? I didn't know all this was happening with you, you know. And so that was just kind of fun. And I've known him almost 30 years now. So I feel like now I have fun every single day, every single moment of every single day. I have a very good time. And, you know, that's really what I focus on. Like, really just how do I want to live my life? What do I want the rest of my life to live? And getting married again is just a progression of really my old self. What I used to be is dead and gone. The old Alicia is dead and gone. And I really do feel like I have been born anew and I had a new take on life. I don't know if it's called a midlife crisis or what it was, but I'm having the time of my life. And I think that everybody can have the time of their life. Like, whatever you're worried about, whatever you're nervous about, whatever relationship you're in that you feel like is not working, this is not the time to be on the fence. This is the time where you need to sit down and hash it out. Don't spend years and years with someone and you know it's not making you happy, because we now know what it takes to make a happy relationship. There is no excuse. You got the window to the world. You don't even ever have to come and see me for coaching or any of that. You can go on YouTube and find everything that you need to help you get the relationship that you know there's no reason to be unhappy. Everything should be exciting. It should be fun. You should have a passion-filled relationship. And if you don't, you need to get off your butt and go for it. It can be there for you.
That is exactly why I will not be seeing that gentleman again, for that very reason.
You know, that's not really
Audrey says, I think affording a person an opportunity to get to know your likes or dislikes has a place in dating, as long as the mutual interest and respect is there. It doesn't sound like Lanee had a genuine interest. I agree with Audrey. And it goes back to, you know, once you have an interest in somebody, you will make reasons. You will find ways to make it work. You will look past certain things. Certain things won't bother you as much. But if you go into something already perturbed or petite, then I used to try to do the square into the circle thing. I'm past that at this point. Vinny, I like what you said. Vinny went back to say, not saying to settle, but just to have fun, which is what you were saying, Dr. Alicia.
Yes.
Not looking too far into the future, just being present. Now, I will say that is why, even though I was on the fence, I was still going to see him again. I was like, you know what? Let me
give him another chance.
No, I'm not giving him another chance. I'm already
You're
over
not going to give him another chance. Okay, don't give him another chance then.
I'm already over it. And I'll tell you.
Goodbye.
So I will tell you why. And don't lie. So we entitled this, Don't Lie to Me, How to Communicate with Honesty. Yes. Sometimes we lie to ourselves. And I will tell you the wholehearted truth. From a relationship standpoint, I have lied to myself in many years, and especially my last two situations that were both 5-year situations that really didn't progress or go anywhere. And they were because I was the liar. The other person didn't lie. The other person was very open in their communication. I'm emotionally in a certain place. I don't see myself going any further. I only want a friend. Men do a really good job of communicating what they want, where they are. We as women will say, that's because you haven't met me, or you haven't met the right person, or whatever the case might be that makes us feel that we are the one that's going to change their mind, right? And so I've had those situations previously where I've met somebody who was like, this is where I'm at. This is what I want to do. I just want to be a friend. You get into the friendship thinking that it's going to, go into something else, or that you're going to change their mind, or they just haven't met you, or once they get to know you and see you and see who you are and how bad and great you are, that they're going to change their mind, and then they don't. But they tell you up front. And so in learning that, now I just take the whole communicating thing, the dating thing, very seriously. If somebody tells me something, I believe what they say. And not only that, I'm doing a better job of communicating my own wants and desires. I know what I want. I know that I'm dating for a reason. I know that I'm dating for a purpose. I know that I want to be married. I know that I want to build an empire or something. Like, I know these things. So if I meet somebody and they tell me that they are a worker bee and they see themselves working for the rest of their life, or they don't understand entrepreneurship or why I work so hard, or they don't get why I'm in a doctorate program, or they just don't understand who I am, my life, and how I live, that's a red flag to me. And it sounds weird because it was like, well, you can build together. And you can probably attest to this. It's hard to build a relationship or a friendship with two people that are going in two different directions. What do you think about that? Like, how do you communicate?
I'm not certain. Like, two different directions. See, here's the thing. When I started dating boys, never in a million years would I ever think that I had my own business. Never in a million years. If we started dating, I am still a college professor. Like, I'm a college professor. The semester starts in the fall. I'll be busy as heck getting all of my courses and everything together. And here is someone who didn't get tenure. So his life is somewhere here online, and my life is here at a university. But you know what? We were going in two separate. We respected each other. We respected what each other did. We respected each other's expertise. And lo and behold, look at me right now. Look at how I have been influenced by my partner, because I was able to see the value in some of the gifts that I have and some of the expertise that I have been sitting on for many, many years and doing a lot of this work. So, and at the same time, you're not going to meet someone who's going to be an identical version of yourself and doing the exact same things. You have to just allow people to be who they are and accept them for it. That's the part of communicating. Don't make someone feel ashamed for having different goals than you. At this age, you're in your 40s or whatever. At this age, people have already, it's all built in. Their brain is already hardwired and they're going in that direction. So you can meet someone with any sort of kind of profession. That doesn't mean I won't be invited to your wedding one day and I put my dancing shoes on, Lanee. I want to dance. Me and boys want to dance at your wedding. That's coming up. It'll be coming up soon. But you'll be so surprised how much you can learn from someone who's different from you and how much they can influence you and compliment you to the best. So I'm not certain that you need to date another entrepreneur. Like, do we need two entrepreneurs? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So I encourage you to be a little more open, Lanee.
So they don't have to be an entrepreneur, but I think they should be a go-getter too, so that they understand the drive of an entrepreneur. They don't have to be a go-getter. They can be driven in their job. They could be, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think I can be ambitious, go-getter, as tenacious as I am, and moving around the way that I do, and my mate be a homebody that wants to sit on the couch.
I kind of feel like a nice homebody who sits on the couch can help to center you more. So maybe you're kind of like you like to get up and go around and do a lot of fun. And then maybe you can get the couch potato off the couch and that person can travel with you a little bit, not all the time. And then you two can complement each other. So if you find someone who is more of a couch potato, then you need to sit on the couch and snuggle and watch Netflix and chill and eat popcorn and all of that. But when it's time for you to get your work done, you two can kind of complement each other. I'm not certain. I know I'm like really hard on you, Lanee. I'm like sitting here like pushing you. I didn't think this conversation would turn into this, but I really do think that you should open up a little more, like be a little more open. And I think you can find someone right there at your fingertips.
Chris says he can be a go-getter that works and you can inspire him. Yeah, I'm down for that, Krista. Yeah. I'm down for somebody. But again, she said he can be a go-getter. So if he is a go-getter, so a couple of things. I've always been this way. This part is not new. I have always had a belief and faith that a man does not have to be where he wants to be when we date. He can be en route. He can have an idea. He can have a goal. He doesn't have to have achieved it. He doesn't have to be there yet, but he's working towards something. I can get with that. I can support that. I get it. But you can't be standing still. That's my only thing. Like if you're aspiring for something, coaching football, helping young Black boys, going for something in your academics, doing something in your career, family, I'm with that. But going to work sitting down, sitting in front of the TV, no goals, no aspirations, no pursuit, I can't support that. And that's more so what I mean by just sitting around doing nothing. I move way too fast. My life isn't built that way. But you said something that made me think about exactly what I said. May Prasad, I see your comment or your question. I'm going to bring it up to Dr. Alicia in 1 second. Matter of fact, thank you again. Let me just reset the room real quick. We are talking with Dr. Boyce Watkins' wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, who is a couples coach. Me and her were having a conversation the other day about relationships and communication, proper ways to communicate, and how do we get our points across, and how do we be compassionate and listen. And I was like, we need to have this conversation online because a lot of men and women struggle with communicating. And one of the reasons is what I think you just said. The brain has already been hardwired. So if you're over 40, you are who you are. You act how you act. You think how you think. You do what you do. And so if you've been hurt, you communicate a certain kind of way. If you're not a vulnerable person, you communicate a certain kind of way. You have guards up. Like, it's very difficult to penetrate and get to know someone oftentimes over 40 because of our past experiences and because of these hardwires. And so communicating is a tool that can be used to help bring guards down, to help be vulnerable, to help understand, to help get your point across. But a lot of times we don't know how to properly communicate. And so we end up in the same place, or you over communicate, or you don't communicate enough, or you don't listen. And so I was like, let's just have a conversation about communicating or being open or being vulnerable or having relationships, because there's a lot of people that want to change or transition or transform their current situation. And they may not be sure how to do it. So that's what inspired this conversation. So back to your point, the brain is already hardwired. How do we progress, transform, change, grow when the brain is already hardwired?
Yeah, to grow, it's painful. So I think it's funny, like when you are, when you've got to a certain level, you're in your bubble by yourself. Okay. And that's a very comfortable place to be. Mm-hmm. And when you decide to enter into a relationship or even a marriage, your bubble is popped, so here you are with someone else. And so that can be a very painful and a very uncomfortable situation, but it's painful sometimes in order to stretch and to grow. That growth process, it requires some sort of discomfort and some sort of pain. But when you're in a relationship with another person, that is the whole purpose. The whole purpose of you being in a relationship, the whole purpose of you being married to somebody is so that you see something in that person that you need for yourself so that you can grow. And it can't be done single. Lanee, I will be very happy one day when you get married, and it is going to happen, because that is going to be the first day of the most painful process in your life, because you're going to have to grow, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be painful, and you're going to end up taking my class, and you're going to understand that, and you're going to be well prepared, and it's going to be a true blissful marriage. And the thing is that you're going to be realistic about the fact that you picked that person because you knew that you needed to learn a lesson. Okay, so where, Boyce rubbed off on me, sending me out of my comfort zone, never in a million years that I think that I would even have an Instagram account. I had an Instagram account, never even was on social media, right? And here I am on social media. So I've allowed him to influence me, and I'm growing in that way. Never would in a million years would Boyce even think he'd ever finish a marathon. He finished a freaking marathon, and it was because of my influence. But we've made each other better in the process. I'm a better person. I hope he thinks he's a better man. I see him as a better person. But he was always wonderful.
Definitely a better man. I will vouch for the fact that Dr. Boyce is a better man.
But it wasn't always comfortable for him. Like, we're not perfect. He's not perfect. I don't even expect him to be. And so, we have tiffs, and he gets on my nerves, I get on his nerves. That's just normal. That's what happens. But the thing is, it's about the honesty piece. So, there's a lot of things that can jeopardize a relationship, but what puts the relationship together, the glue that holds a relationship together, is honesty, is trust. And when you have secrets and when you try to hide something from someone, the truth will always come out. So honesty is always the glue that holds a relationship together. And not be ashamed about some things in your past. Like, what is it in your past? Do you have any addictions? Do you have any past history of abuse, like sexual abuse? I mean, those sort of things need to be talked about with your partner, especially before you get married, And I see a lot of couples. I actually have some couples that I have seen where they come to me right after they got married. And we end up talking about and discussing things that should have been talked about way before they got engaged. And so that is, and some of those marriages did not end where they are together. Some of those marriages ended in divorce because they're now like, oh, this is what you expected in a marriage. This is what you expected. I don't think this is somebody I can spend the rest of my life with anymore. I have seen that, and it's unfortunate. So you do need to be honest. You do need to be truthful, because the truth always comes out. The truth will set you free. That's not just a euphemism. It really will set you free.
So you made a couple of points. Let me say this, and then I want to go to the comments. If you have a question for Dr. Alicia, if you want to offer a perspective, or if you'd like to ask her a question, please post the comment. If you know somebody that could benefit from the conversation, please share it. Give us thumbs up, like the broadcast. All of that helps. You said communicating before marriage. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, people will go through a relationship and believe that communicating before marriage means communicate before marriage. How early should you start communicating your wants and desires and thoughts and things of that nature? First date? Second, third, fourth, 6 months in, a year in? Like, when do you actually start communicating your wants and desires, hurts, flaws, things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to have TMI on the first date. You definitely want to get to know someone better. I think at that point, really getting to know you have to have a criteria. Like, you were very clear, Lanee, that you had, there were certain things that you wanted in a mate. And it seems like you were really clear. So the first part is to make sure that I don't know if I'm going to call it check off the boxes, but to see if they check your boxes and see if there's just, what is it about a potential mate that would be a deal breaker? Like, no way I could ever be with someone like this. It's getting to know yourself and understanding. But once they pass a lot of that, it takes time. I say go as slow as possible. Do not rush it, because there's nothing like rushing into a situation or rushing into a relationship and you don't know each other very well. Take it very slow. Observe. A lot of things are unsaid. A lot of things are said. People really think they're hiding some things, but they really aren't. You can pick up on it. I notice everything. So, for me, I have to learn how to turn it off, because there's nothing I don't catch. So I catch a lot. But even if you're not good at that, really trust yourself.
Okay. So Dr. Omi Prasad, I may be saying that wrong, and I apologize if I am, wants to know, what are your thoughts of being close friends, spending quality time with your ex and your friends or your tribe after breaking up while you're talking with another love interest?
Why would you be? I mean, I don't know. I have spending quality time with your ex. I'm not quite certain what that's about. If you, under what conditions? Here's the thing. Like, if you know that you were in a relationship with someone and the relationship is not turning out and you want to move on with your life, why not just terminate with the person? That doesn't mean I hate you. Doesn't mean I'm going to cut you off from social media. That doesn't mean you have ill will towards someone. But I'm not certain what benefit it would be to be friends with an ex like that. I'm not quite certain, is the flame still going? So if you want to really move on, you have to build the conditions for you to move on. But if you're still kind of held on to an ex, I really would question that. Why not just say, goodbye to you in this experience, hello to you in the next experience? It could be just friends, but why would you be close friends with an ex? That's really curious to me.
I don't know. I'm friends with a lot of my exes, actually. Now, I don't know if I would say close friends, but I don't.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
It sounds like close friends.
But definitely friends. I've never had a bad breakup, only one or two, but I never had a bad breakup. So I'm still friends with. From the perspective of if we cross paths, is hey, what's up? Like we're not talking.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Not, we're cordial. That's the right word. We're cordial.
Always be cordial.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really good one. I think people don't know how to end relationships. They, I think that it should be done in the most respectful way possible. And so I think it's important to be fair to the next person that you date, that you're just not hanging out with all your exes all the time. That might be a little disturbing, but yeah, it's okay to be friends and cordial with your ex. You don't have to hate each other.
So Crystal made a comment, and I want to just comment on this comment. She said, okay. I had to get used to communicating my about I have been single so long, I wasn't used to someone worrying about me. And I would like to just add to that yes, there is a transition from being single to being in a relationship, and what that communication looks like, having to tell somebody where you're at, what you're doing, if that's how if that's how you communicate. And then not being, don't ask me where I'm at, don't ask me where I'm going. So there is so much, I believe anyways, that happens between being single and being in a relationship. That I don't want to say it's a gray area, Dr. Alicia, but it's an area. A lot of people don't communicate. People are afraid to communicate. People are afraid to say what they want, what they think. And so there's that transition can be difficult if both parties are being honest about what they expect, what they think, what's going to happen next. If they're, I say emotionally unavailable. There's a lot of people that are walking around emotionally unavailable that are in relationships or friendships, as I like to call them, and they are not being honest.
I'm writing that down. I want to go back to emotionally unavailable. But the first thing I want to comment on is, okay, so the type of communication, I think what people, when you're used to being single, you're not used to like telling someone where your whereabouts. I think that's the most respectful thing you can do. So it's not like it's not like you're parenting someone. You know how your mom, you would tell them, can I go and hang out with my friends at the park? It's not that type of communication. That's a parent-child communication. Adult to adult communication is, hey, I'm going to the grocery store. Would you like something? I'll see you when I get back. That is the most respectful conversation to have with someone. I also think that when you're in a nice intimate relationship with someone, that you should hug and kiss. As soon as you leave, before you leave the house, you should walk up to your mate if you're together in a house. You should walk up to your mate and you should just say, you should hug and kiss goodbye. That's how I feel. Hug and kiss goodbye. Goodbye, sweetie. I'm headed to work. I'll be back later. As you exit the house and when you enter the house, there should be a ritual involved in that. You never know. You could get into a car accident. That could be the last thing you say to your partner, at that point. So yeah, I think it's important to have expectations on, okay, just let me know where you're going to be. You don't have to, I'm not giving you permission. Like, I don't think anyone should give each other permission on where they should be, but just say, hey, I'm hanging out. I'm going, like, I go exercise. I exercise with boys, but I exercise with other friends. And I say, hey, I'm going to exercise with my girlfriend. I'll see you in a couple of hours. See you later. Hug and kiss. Goodbye. So that is something that I think is respectful. Wouldn't you say?
No, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I believe in the hug and the kiss coming and going. And I think to what you said, I think there is a respectable way to communicate. And I like how you said adult communicating, because sometimes we don't make that transition to adult communicating, especially if you've been single for a while, which is what I think Crystal was saying. Yeah. Going from being single, not having to communicate with somebody else to now having to communicate with somebody.
It's an adjustment process. And hopefully that the other person can just recognize that. So, this person's been single for a long time. Be patient that's another thing. Be patient with each other. I mean, this person is your partner. This person has said, I love you and I want to be with you. The best thing you could do is be patient with them, encourage them, and just like be very appreciative of just them being with you. I think the lack of appreciation, the lack of understanding is so rampant.
Mm-hmm. let me ask Wani Jones. I think it is. I have not dated for several years. I have been in abusive relationships in the past. I am willing to explore the dating world. I have tried some sites, never had a date, but have had conversations to know that I do not want. Is there still hope for me? I'm hardwired, over 50.
Okay, first I want to say again, if you've had a history of abuse, congratulations for wanting to get out there again, because that can be a very scary place. Sometimes you just don't think you trust yourself to make good judgment, to find another mate again. So to get back into the dating world, I think that is so remarkable, because that makes yourself vulnerable again. And hopefully you got some help with that. I know a lot of women who've been in abusive relationships and they straight up have post-traumatic stress disorder. They have PTSD, and it is really bad. But I have seen and I have had clients who've had PTSD from dating violence. We'll just say that, from dating violence. And it took years for us to really tease out a lot of that so that they feel comfortable dating again. And there are success stories. So I think that bravo to you and your success story, because you're ready to get back out there again. And really, and I think this is a time where eventually when you feel comfortable, you can share that background about yourself with the potential person, share, not right away, but also share, I've had like some really interesting things happen to me in the past, and hopefully you will find a partner that's going to like help you heal from that, help you like soothe you, someone that's going to be nice and gentle with you, because people who've had that background, they need to be with someone extremely gentle, extremely understanding, and someone that can help them, continue the journey on working through that issue.
Yeah. I think that, man,
geez,
traumatic experiences, people who move through and past traumatic experiences to be whole and healthy, there's absolutely hope for you. It's the people who stay the same, who stay stuck in the situation, that don't, and by no means am I saying that it's easy to get to the other side, or it's easy to be whole, or that you're stuck because you want to be there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the people who do the work to be free, to be whole, to get to the other side, there's hope in that. You're moving towards something.
Yeah, and I really love Yolanda Yancey over here in the chat. And she said, prayer changes things. God delivers and he heals the broken and the wounded. That is a very transformational process. And, I don't know how religious people are, but if you are religious, pray. If you're more spiritual, meditate. It's all the same thing. You really do need to get in tune with yourself. I pray and meditate every single day, because I got to center myself so that I can be my best self, and so that I can connect with the God inside of me. I really do. And before I see clients, I pray. Before I see clients, I want to be able to, I want to connect with the God in me so that I can speak to my clients in a way that will help them heal, in the way that will help them communicate with each other, especially when it's couples. I really feel like it is my passion, and it is my purpose in life. And I know it's my purpose because I just know it. And I believe in what I know. It is really my purpose in life to help couples tease all of this stuff out. So it's something that is near and dear to me and my method and the type of work that I do. So that is good, Yolanda. Cheers to you, Yolanda, in the chat. Yeah.
So can communicating be learned? So let's say we've been a bad communicator all of our lives, or we've been a soft communicator, or we haven't been good with vocally communicating what we want and how we feel. Can communicating, okay, so that's one way, right? You have the person who doesn't communicate so well, but then you have the person on the other side who over communicates, who's super aggressive, who has to be heard, who has to be beat in my chest. Like, can proper communication be learned?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what you're talking about is there are some people who are real passive with communication. They're not very direct. They're very suggestive. They want you to read their minds. And then you have the pendulum that swings all the way over to the side where someone is being really aggressive. And aggressive communication is disrespectful. Aggressive communication is talking over someone. Aggressive communication is not being gentle with someone. Aggressive communication is saying words that hurt someone, calling people names, being controlling, being vindictive, being mean. You know, that sort of aggressive communication is something that that is on one side of the pendulum, and then on the other side is a piece where you're just really meek and you're not really talking about, and you have a lot of built up resentment as a result. And so you need to be assertive. I like to call it assertive communication, where you can acknowledge. So if someone asks you to, hey, Lanee, I want to use your car to go down the street because my car broke down. I need to use your car. Lanee, you can always say, yeah, I know it's pretty tough that you need to use my car. Today I have something planned already today. Tomorrow I'll be more than happy to take you. That's assertive communication. That's acknowledging the other person's feelings and thoughts and issue, but that's also saying, no, I'm not able to do it. That's being assertive in a respectful way, but say, you know what, I would love to do it tomorrow. I'll be available. Let me look at my calendar. Okay, tomorrow will be a great day. I can help get you to work tomorrow, but today is just not good. I'm really sorry. That's a good way of being assertive and not saying, okay, take my car and then, here you are. So yeah, so I think that being assertive, instead of being really passive or really aggressive in your communication, is extremely important.
Nice. So you fall right there in the middle, because you don't want to be like, yeah, use my car, and really you don't want to let the person use the car. Like, let me calm down. Communicate, say how you feel. I used to be a horrible communicator, but I used to have low self-esteem, confidence. I was shy, and so anything somebody said to me, I went with it. If you asked me, I thought you were telling me. Told me something, I would think, okay, maybe that's not what they meant. I would read between the lines. I'm sure it didn't sink in when I first heard it, but I reflect on it often. Maya Angelou's quote: "When somebody shows you who they are, believe them."
Yes.
And tell you what they mean, believe them. Because I didn't for a very long time, and sometimes I think that because I've found my voice, I found my strength, I'm stronger in a lot of areas. Sometimes it can be too much, because now I've let people talk to me crazy for so long. Now I'm like, you're not gonna talk to me crazy.
Yes. Okay.
Crazy.
Yes. Okay. So what you just described is the typical 40-year-old I get in my office. So I do get a lot of women who used to be so meek, and then they just go to the extreme. And I say, well, just tell them how you feel. I give them the green light to go forward. And they'll come back to me the next session. They'll say, I just cussed out so-and-so. And they were looking at me like, who's this lady that showed up? And I said, okay, so now you've just gone too far. Now we got to talk about respect. It's normal. It's normal. I expect it to happen. And it's supposed, I said, go and apologize. And you can clean this up. It's never too late.
Never too late. Okay, so Terry says, what do you say to a partner that brings past experiences into a new relationship? For example, if they were hurt in a past relationship and they treat the new relationship like the old relationship.
Listen, how can you not bring past relationships into the new relationship? Your experiences in the past, from the time you were born all the way up to the moment that you meet someone, all of those experiences shape who you are. It shapes your worldview. It shapes your value system. It shapes your belief system. It shapes how you see the world. All of your relationship has an impact on. How can you not bring it into? Now, I think that what the question might be talking about is that if you have like past trust issues that were not resolved, of course you need to work on resolving those things and being able to recognize that. I think it's a perfect opportunity when people are bringing up past traumatic issues and past relationships into the relationship, is that they easily get triggered. So when you start finding someone getting triggered, and listen, if you have so the person who asked that question, if you are now in a relationship with someone and you are clearly able to recognize that they are getting triggered and things are happening because of something that's happened to them in the past, I do not advocate ending that relationship. I think that there are very helpful ways to work through that. I also think that you should allow that person to tell their story. Hey, you know what? I wasn't really being mean to you in that way. tell me a story about why this triggered for you. Tell me, why is this coming up for you as a trigger? And really being gentle. Gentle is like a word that I just want to use all the time. But really listening to them share their story about a past hurt or past experiences. And you can say, you know, that was someone else. I would hope that with my consistency and with my trust, that you will learn to heal from that. And I promise you, I will do the best I can to never treat you the way that other person treated you. And I think it was awful. Show some empathy for each other. Don't dump the person just because they have you got past issues too that you dealt with. So all of us are bringing past issues to the table. Why not make that an opportunity to just share with each other?
Oh, I love that answer. Terry also asks, how do you deal with a partner that has low self-esteem?
Yeah, build them up, you know, try to work on building them up. Try to find out why. Tell me, do they know they have low self-esteem? Are they aware of it? You know, a lot of people aren't aware. It could be something that's a blind spot. It could be something that's a blind spot. And it could be, I like me, the type of person I am, I can't hold anything. We will sit down and talk about it. I gotta talk to you about something that I've noticed. And you can just bring it up and say, you know, tell me which I have come to the thought that there are things that you've done that makes me wonder if you have low self-esteem. Am I right or am I wrong? Give them permission to correct you, because you could be wrong. You know, say, am I right? Am I wrong? Where am I right? Where am I wrong? And if they're not ready to deal with it, you know, you might want to just lay off. They're not ready to talk about that particular thing. But it's hard dating someone with low self-esteem. You know, it's a lot of emotional baggage that comes along with that. And they try to be people pleaser. It can be really annoying. But I say have a conversation about that. Tell me if I'm wrong. And if they're honest with you, they say, you know what, I do have low self-esteem. Let me tell you where it came from. When I was a child, I thought I was really ugly. I thought I was not good enough. And someone told me I wasn't good enough. And you just listen to that. Wow, is this? And then you can recognize, okay, is this part of where you thought you weren't good enough? You know, and then you can say, what can I do for you to help you so that this is not triggered? I like working with each other. Lanee, I saw your look on your face.
No, my son was talking to me as you were talking. I'm trying to be like, I'm online. So Jennifer asked a good question. And I don't think people think about the different types of communication that needs to take place based on a person's past. So hers is specific to divorcees. What should you be cautious about in your communication when dating a divorcee?
Yeah, I mean, well, divorce is different for everybody. You know, it all depends. You know, it would be really interesting to have them tell their side of the story. It's two sides to a story. It would be really nice to have them tell their side of the story, like their perspective about what went on, and really listen to them. And that'll let you know, how they react when they are angry and upset, you know. And you can ask them questions like, what did you learn from your marriage? You know, what is it that led to that painful decision? Because it's not an easy decision to get divorced. It is something that is extremely, it's not something you just wake up one day and do. You just can't do that. So, you know, really have them and really figure out if they're really over it, you know, and ask a lot of questions. I say ask a lot of questions, observe, take it slow. I can't emphasize that enough.
Mm-hmm. I just love talking to you. I mean, and I don't say that because you're Dr. Boyce's wife. I don't say that because you're my client. Like, I say that just because you are just so amazing. Your wealth of knowledge.
Oh, thank you.
Things. You're positive. You don't waver in what you think. Like, even sometimes, you know, even if we disagree, you are still I think, or this is what I want. And I love that about you. I love that you were married and divorced and didn't think you were going to be with someone, but you still, you know, were still open and available, so that when you and Dr. Boyce crossed paths, you were able to develop a deeper friendship that ended up turning into a relationship that led to marriage. I love that you are open about helping other people or couples to be married, to learn how to communicate, to learn how to blend their family, to learn how to get married again? What questions should you ask before you get married? How do you do this thing differently? How do you do this so that you can do it right? I love that you have dedicated your life to helping couples through couples coaching with Dr. Alicia.
Yeah, I do have some gray hair in here. I have gray hair in here. And I look at the gray hair and I think that's wisdom, because I've made mistakes before. I'm not at all perfect in my relationships, but I've learned. And so I can impart, I mean, I can always impart like strategies and tips and all of those things, but I also can give you some wisdom because I've been there, done quite a bit. been there, done a lot of that before. And so I speak from my own faults. You know, the fact that I'm not at all perfect and did not make the best decisions, but I did learn from them. My gray hair is wisdom. I got plenty in here.
We have 2 questions. I'm going to end with these 2 questions. We have one from Victoria, and then we have one from Yolanda. Victoria says, what about a partner who says he is afraid of failure of marriage? I'm assuming she's saying he's afraid to either pursue a relationship or get married because he's afraid of failing at it. What do you do in that situation? How do you communicate?
Yeah, I mean, God, I really wonder why he's afraid of failing. What's the worst that could happen? Like, go for it. You know, I just, why not go for it? Why not go for it? And the fear, the fear is real. And I would hope that if that's someone that you're dating, I would hope that you can present a side of yourself about who you are that would make that man feel comfortable, because all men are afraid when they get married. And apparently when they actually do get married, there was something in that woman that made them very comfortable, where they felt like the risk was worth it. You know, this is worth the risk, because all men are afraid of divorce. Men do not divorce their wives. The wives tend to divorce the men, not always, but it is something that all men are afraid, because marriage favors men. You know, I mean, statistics show that married men live longer, married men are healthier, married men have better sex than non-married men. Even cohabitating men.
I disagree with you on that. I said there are some married men that may disagree with you on that. We can have that conversation.
That's what the stats tell us. When even cohabitating men, they really do have a much more fulfilling life. They make more money. Married men make more money. They look better in society. It's so much better to say my wife than my girlfriend. Here you are, 45 years old, talking about me and my girlfriend. Like, you look more prestigious. People take you more seriously if they see you with a wedding band on. You know, it's a status. You know, they just look at you. I'm not saying it should be this way, but that's how it is subconsciously. And so it you know what it tells people in business? That, okay, he made a commitment to someone, so we know that he is trustworthy. It makes you look trustworthy, for men in particular. So, I mean, let the man know that men are healthier. They have less heart disease. You know, there's a lot of mental health improves for a lot of married men. Not the same for married women, by the way, but it is for married men. So there is a myth out there about marriage that a lot of men who are married, they're actually they benefit in the long run than men who aren't married and men who are cohabitating.
Okay.
I didn't say it. The numbers said it.
That's the number set. Okay. So this is the last question.
You can check me on it if you want. Okay.
The last question is from Yolanda. She says there are stages of divorce. Do you utilize those in your sessions or therapy?
I'm not familiar with stages of divorce. I know that divorce happens long before you end up in court. Sometimes there are marriages going on right now, and they're so fake that that I wouldn't even consider it a marriage. So the divorce is over a long time before you end up contacting lawyers and trying to legally divorce. So you know, I'm not certain about the stages of divorce, but I do work with a lot of women who are rebounding and getting their lives back together, and everything seems in shambles emotionally, psychologically, financially, for sure. They're trying to get everything together. They don't know who they are. It can be very anxious. You can become very anxious. You can be sad. You know, it's a great time to get your, remember, I don't know if you watched the Kardashians. I like keeping up with the Kardashians, how Khloe Kardashian used to have revenge body. You know, you got to get your body back together after you end a relationship with someone. So there's different ways to you can kind of get to know yourself again as a single person after divorce and heal yourself, and go forward more confident and not feel ashamed. Some people feel really ashamed by saying, yeah, I was married, but I'm divorced. You know, it's something that, and it's hard to talk about. I mean, you got to tell your family, you got to tell your friends, you got to let a lot of people down, not to mention the children. So, you know, getting married is not just two people getting married. There's family, there's friends, there's children, there's, you know, a lot of people who are affected by that decision.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I see your comment. So, Jennifer says, can you?
I do have that. If anybody have questions, I do have help at coachingwithdralicia.com. Someone can email me questions if they want. Do you want to do that? Am I having you type something in?
Yeah, I'm going to put, so it says, can you post your contact info? So I'm going to go to, you can follow Dr. Alicia on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. So if you're on Instagram, she's at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Dr. Alicia also has a course that's going to be coming up starting on July 10th, I think, Dr. Alicia?
Yeah, July 10th, yes.
It's couples communicating. If you go to www.getmarriedwithdralicia.com, Get Married, is that the right one? Yeah, getmarriedwithdralicia.com. You can see her couples communicating course that she's going to be doing on July 10th to help with better communication amongst couples. It's for men and or women, men and women. So she has that coming up as well. And then if you would like to ask her a question, you can email her. Let me put this on the screen. Email help at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
Thank you, Sandra. Sandra put it in there. Help at coachingwithdralicia.com for questions. Yes, that is correct. So if you have questions, you can put it in, send questions to that email address, and I think we're going to collect the questions and we'll address them online and then take your questions live. Lanee, I want you to do this again with me.
Victoria says, are you taking clients?
Yeah, I do have some open. I'm on my honeymoon, so you know I'll be taking clients in the next week or so. but yeah, I am taking clients. You can go to coachingwithdralicia.com, and then there's an intake form. You just say go to coaching, and then you can fill out the intake form, and I respond pretty quickly. Within 24 hours, I try to check the email, and I have an assistant that checks it too. So we'll get back to you, and me or my team will get back to you and let you know.
So I'm going to end with this one because I want to make sure that we address it. I don't want anyone to leave thinking that you were saying that marriage validates a woman, because I know that's not what you were saying. But Wani Jones says, so are you saying that marriage validates women? And I would say she was saying that marriage validates men, but I'm not going to put words in her mouth. What were you actually, what, can you be more clear on the comment that you were making about what marriage does for men and women?
I think marriage is wonderful because you have found someone that you believe that it could be your life partner. It can be where you can stretch and grow. I think it's so much better. I mean, one is a whole number. So even if you're single, you're still a whole person. But I think the real learning about yourself is when you are in a relationship with another person. So I wouldn't say it validates women. I think that both couples in the marriage it is possible to have a blissful, happy, satisfying relationship with another person. That is possible if you are with the right person who can potentially be the right life partner for yourself. So I am definitely a proponent for marriage because I think that it is a relationship you enter into that is like no other. And I think that it is essential for personal growth. And I can explain it further, but I know we're running out of time here, but that's what I think. So I don't think that validate would be the best word to use. I think that it is definitely a path towards self-knowledge.
Boom.
Yes.
And like we said, Dr. Alicia has a course coming up. It's called Couples Communicating. It's called Couples. Okay, let me make sure I say it right. It's called Premarital Coaching, Couples Getting Married, How to Prepare for Upcoming Nuptials. So it's not couples communicating, it's couples getting married, how to prepare for upcoming nuptials. It's on Saturday, July 10th and Sunday, July 11th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. She's going to be talking about what makes a happy marriage, marriage myths, marital expectations, establishing balance between professional life and personal life, managing finances, resolving conflicts peacefully, creating a deeper love. And she's going to be giving some tips on deeper love. So if you are interested, you can go to getmarriedwithdralicia.com. Yay, Dr. Alicia!
Yay!
Thank you.
And I'm waiting. One day I'm going to get that invitation to your wedding, and I'm about some dancing shoes.
You're going to get
dancing shoes
sooner than you think. It's going to be sooner than you think.
And if you don't invite me, I'm going to crash the wedding.
Girl, you already know I'm inviting you. I mean, you royalty. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be there. Yes, you are going to be there. Thank you so much for all of you guys that tuned in today to have this conversation with us. We just want to make sure that Black love, it not only exists, but it is thriving and it is blissful. And any part of the conversation that we can have to do that, whether it be communicating, whether it be premarital conversations, we want to make sure that you're having those, because Black love is essential to the Black family, to our economic empowerment, to our legacy, to everything that we're building. And so these conversations, I love to have these. You know what? I don't even know if you saw these, Dr. Alicia, but let me go back to these really quickly before I leave. And it said, let me see. You had some compliments in here. One said you look so beautiful and you look so youthful.
Oh, thank you.
I love you, Dr. Alicia and Dr. Boyce Watkins. Somebody said it is wisdom. Good for you. She's talking about the gray.
The gray hair.
Yes. Okay. And then somebody said thank you. So I just want to thank you too, Dr. Alicia, for being here, allowing me to facilitate this conversation with you and our audience today. Please make sure that you guys like this video. Big ups it. Throw a heart on there. Throw a thumbs up. Share it with somebody that you think may benefit from this conversation. Turn on your notifications. Also, go follow Dr. Alicia on Instagram. You can find her at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Again, she's on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. You can check me out on social media. I am everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at I am Lanee Javet. So it's my name, basically. My handle is I am Lanee Javet. Please go like and follow on Instagram if you can. Definitely appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being here with us today. We thank you so much. We bid you nothing but blessings, and we say farewell. Bye.
Farewell. This was fun.
Next time.